Guess who's back? Good evening, Ross. Please, that podcast must be doing well, Rossi. His podcast is doing really well. Look at that already. Unreal.
What a gaff, man. I was playing the piano there before I came on. You
What a
interrupted me. What
Anyway,
a gaff.
excuse me. Welcome to the Rangers Rabble podcast. It's JD here. I thought I was getting a night off the hosting game, but Martin was watching Brandon Barker try to cross the ball for Cedric Itten and took a migraine and they won there. So he's asked me to take the hosting gig on tonight. So we'll have a little chat for half an hour. So I am joined by Graham. How are we, mate? Is your mic working now?
I think so, mate. All good, mate.
It's good.
Can I hear you, mate? Can I hear you?
Alex, you're going to experience a pod with Ross Clark tonight. Are you feeling ready for it?
Yeah, I remember my first beer as well. So.
No. That was quite good.
Old Harry Potter giving it big, you know? Harry Potter!
Right, don't start. Ross, how are we, mate? I've not been on with you for months, man.
Mate, it's good to see Nathan Patterson's uglier wee brother on me. That is grand. I love that. Nathan Patterson without eyes, that's what we've got here. This is good.
Ross, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm really good, thank you.
Good to see you, man. I was watching the pod from the other day, earlier on, so good to have you back on, mate. I'm glad to see everything's going well, mate. You're doing an absolutely fantastic job, by the way, just so you know.
Thank you very much,
so
mate.
we'll welcome over.
That's a tenner away.
I know. We'll welcome all our friends in the comments as well. So, Aldo, how are we doing? Good evening, everybody. Dale's back on. Dale's haunting me, by the way. Every time he's on, he's kicking back in LA. So, and we're loving it here in the freezing cold. So, anyway, we'll chat about the game. Rangers, I don't know what the score was. Rangers 4. Stirling Albion 0. Probably should have been more. Graham, me and you were pretty vocal at the start there. On that chat there, I think folk were getting sickies because we kind of went off and one about the starting lineup. I was shocked about the starting lineup. You were as well, weren't you?
I can understand Bacuna and that, but it was the Brandon Barker one for me. That's what got me absolutely raging. I don't understand why he would be considered for minutes because he shouldn't be playing for Rangers, simple as that. But I was delighted when Lowry came on. It kind of got me a wee bit more excited about the rest of the match. Just a sad case that it was coming on for Hagi, an injury. So hopefully he's not too bad.
I want to we'll do a wee section on Lowry, so I don't want to jump right into him right now because he looks special. But Roscoe, what was your thoughts with the starting lineup, mate?
Obviously a bit surprised there. I thought maybe a wee bit of rotation, but I didn't expect, as you say. By the way, can we have a moment of applause for Brandon Barker's hair?
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, he must have stole one of the lights that they put on the Ibrox pitch at night. You see in all the pictures for the restaurant for on top of his barnet. That is outstanding. But apart from that, no, shit show again for him against Stirling Albion. My wee mate Curtis absolutely bossed him. I thought didn't he look interested. Bacuna, I like him. I've liked him up till now, but I thought the day I was expecting to see big things off him and didn't he look grand. I'm an Itten fan. I think Itten's got a place in our squad somewhere to offer a change up front. Everybody else we've got, he's just a bit different, isn't he? And I was glad he got a goal, to be honest, because it was one of the ones, if he never scored tonight, potentially getting into future games, it would have affected his confidence.
Is that you? You ended it right abruptly there. Was that you?
Alright, sorry mate, do you want me to keep going?
No, that was fine. I was still sitting thinking, I thought you were kidding on when you said you were a fan of Itten. Alex, I'll come to you. Starting lineup, bud. What were your initial thoughts? Because you know you're in the group chat, you've seen a few of us throwing their toys out the pram with it.
When I seen it to begin with, I was surprised that I didn't see Ross's name on the bench there. It was just throwing anyone and everyone in, and I was a bit annoyed there wasn't as many youngsters in at the start. But obviously Lowry comes on. I thought it was a good chance for Bacuna. Barker was the funky one. And Simpson as well. I was really surprised to see Simpson after, you know, all these talks of, you know, that his career was over at Ibrox. So.
The thing with Jack Simpson's actually, I mean, how many chances has Jack Simpson had, Ross, really? He's not really had any chances. It's hard to sit here and talk about, oh, he had a chance in it or anything like that. But see, for me, if you're talking about that game in isolation, I thought he actually played all right.
That's the thing, mate. These guys have been waiting for months for a shot, and then they get and play against a part-time team that boys were probably on building sites today till 2 o'clock before they go for the game, and they're no standing out. For me, that's the difference. The young boy Lowry's came on, went like that, fuck this, I've got a chance, and he's went, put his foot on the ball, a wee bit of trickery. You could see him demanding the ball off of senior pros, whereas Barker and your man Simpson and that were quite happy for me just to stroll it, Bacuna, just to stroll it and just do the bare minimum to get through the game.
Yeah, Graham, you watch European football. I always come to you for a wee bit of inside info, but Bacuna's a guy that's kind of came from nowhere. You know, his brother was a more well-known player. Is it his brother? The other Bacuna? Yeah, his brother was a more well-known player, I'm sure, wasn't he? So he came to Rangers and you're expecting something from that. I still say it, I think there's a player in there, but for me, there's a real attitude. There's something no right. He's very lackadaisical on the ball and almost like he's made it as a pro, and that's him sorted.
I totally agree, mate. He's one of the players I think that you can see he's got all the technique, the skill, and he could probably beat 5 players if he wanted to, but he doesn't make the right decisions all the time. He tries to play for himself, I think, which annoys me. Whereas Alex Lowry came on, he done the simple things right, and then he tried stuff when he had the chance. Yeah, but he always made sure he done the simple things right. But I think Bacuna tries to do the silky thing or the hard choice and stuff like that. But I totally agree, there is a player in there if he just starts to adapt tactically and play for the team.
Do you think he's got a future?
I think if we could get an offer for him in the summer, I'd let him go.
Ross, are they going to get an offer for a guy like Bacuna though? He's not shown anything. Like, did we get him on a free as well? So is this really going to happen? Is this another one who's going to maybe see out his contract, or we get him a loan to maybe Holland or something?
I think he's just a guy that's just rocked up, mate. He's been a free and we've took a gamble. Maybe Gerrard's or his background team have knew of him. What age is he? What interest is he?
I think he's 26, 27, I think.
Oh,
so he's not a young guy. I was thinking that. I was thinking, but
check that in the comments so if anybody knows that, because I thought he was 23. I didn't think he was even anywhere near 26, 27. That even puts a different spin on it.
I might be getting mixed up with his brother, but
yeah. Yeah.
24. He's 24 years old.
24.
Yeah, I just give it a wee search there. But I just wanted to pop in and say, I think it's harsh to judge anyone on tonight because that team is thrown together. Obviously, the players like Tavernier and Goldson, but they did their part. I think it's hard to judge someone on a one-off off that night. You know, there's a lot of match sharpness that's still to be collected, and to be honest, most of them did their job, bar the first 25 minutes, which was just a horrific watch.
It was. See, in the first 25 minutes, Alex, we've seen Hagi going off, and see when you watched it a second time around, it looked like a real sore one. I actually was worried.
Yeah.
You see a player throw the hand up, right away you know, but the players are a bit prima donna-ish these days, so it kind of got walked off, but I was worried. It looked a bad one.
Yeah, it did look a bad one. I was actually quite concerned because, you know, obviously Hagi's he's kind of struggling for some form, and you know, it would only been 5-6 minutes when he gets subbed off, maybe a little bit longer, but he was the one that was at that point looking a bit more interested and getting the little flicks off. Even that the bit for him where he gets injured, it's him who makes the little pass, and then the flick, and Tavernier's headed it down to him, and he's the one who's looking most like our threat at that point. So it was maybe a chance for him to settle a bit, and unfortunately he's gone off with an injury.
Yeah. Ross, got another player that we that came in who's not played much, but we've always had a bit of high hopes for him, is Sakala. What was your thoughts on his performance? I thought at the start he was just getting you could see his instructions were get the ball and run.
Yeah. I love the wee guy, mate.
You like him, yeah?
I love him. Aye. I love him. Aye. Yeah, I think he'll score goals for Rangers, mate, yes. I think I'm not sure that with Morelos maybe missing the Old Firm game in Ross County, I'm not too sure he's going to spearhead an attack against Celtic, but I think definitely cutting in from that left-hand side, he's definitely an option, mate, and you can see that he's the guy's a finisher. Do you know what I mean? He scored 16 goals in the Belgian league last year, so he's not a Hagi. Do you know what I mean? But I think I don't see him as being a lead the line striker in the mould of Morelos, but definitely I think there is a player in there. Plus he gets a haircut tonight, doesn't he? Because he scored, so that's him. He gets a wee haircut.
Somebody's Fog Dog saying that his legs. See at the start, I just thought he was so. It's like he was given an instruction. He was like a wee puppy. I'm going to do what I was told to do, and he was just so enthusiastic. But his legs were too quick. I don't want to drop a name in here, but he reminded me a wee bit of Kenny Miller, kind of Nacho Novo at some points. But see when he gets into that position when he finished it, I seen him cutting inside. I had no doubts he was going to finish that. That's I think maybe the second or third time, Graham, he scored a goal like that for us. So he has got something.
I'm like Ross, I like him, mate. And obviously he's infectious, so it makes you feel more closer to him. But coming off the left-hand side, I agree. I think that'll probably be his best position, especially if we play it up front against Celtic, which I think it possibly will be if all going well. Hopefully knockdowns are from it and he can run onto them and kind of counter-attack a wee bit. So I think that's what you'll probably see in the run-up to the Old Firm.
Yeah. Alex, this is a big moment for you. I'm going to ask you a question. I want the right answer. What's your views on Cedric Itten?
Oh, not the same as yours. Tonight, I actually thought he was very
poor,
tenacious. I thought he was hard working. He did a lot.
I've got a 7-year-old who's more tenacious than Cedric Itten. I've just put a 2-year-old to bed who's more tenacious than him.
I thought he did a lot off the ball, and so at some point it looked like he tried too hard. It wasn't his best game for us, but like I say, I'm not judging him just off that. It's his first game back. He just come back from a spell in Germany, so.
Ross,
you're right, Jade. You're right, JD. That Wayne is tenacious. I just heard it getting back out its bed to tell you to shush.
Ross, tell me, why do you like it? I honestly, I'll say to folks, and I've done it on Twitter, I think he will score goals for us. Any number 9 who's came for 3.5 million, I'd expect to score at least a few goals. Doesn't mean that I think he's going to be a good player, but Ross, why do you like him? I think he's a good player.
I just think he gives us a different option, mate. As I say, I think we've got Kent, you've got Morelos who'll put himself about a bit, but Morelos is going to miss games through travelling and through suspensions and picking up silly bookings and stuff. For me, he gives you something different, mate. Last season, if you look at the start of the season, if you look at the bench, you've had Defoe wasn't getting any sort of game time at all. You've had Roof, Kent, Sakala, all quick, tricky guys. I just think he'll give you something different, mate, to be honest. I'm not saying I think he's the best player in the world, but at least he's going to give you, he gives you effort and he gives you a target man and he gives you somebody that can hold the ball up. Need to remember he's not played many games in Germany either. He's a better option for me on the bench. This is what Van Bronckhorst said. You've got Defoe sitting there who's never going to play, and you've got Itten who can come on and do something a bit different.
Chris is saying that, Graham. Itten will come good, but we keep saying that. Everybody keeps saying Itten's going to come good. He's going to come. When's he going to come good? When's that happening?
I think he's going to be useful for a squad player. Like as Ross was saying there, it's suspensions, he can fill in. Cup games against lower oppositions, he can fill in, give Morelos in that arrest. Or when we're 2-3-0 up, you can take players off and put them on. I think he's going to be good for. I don't think he's going to be like a first number 9 for us going forward. But I think it'll be useful for the squad.
But we're seeing we say Itten's going to come good and be useful for the squad, right? Alex, you can jump in here as well if you want, mate. But that's going to need to be coming in. That's going to need to be scoring against Celtic. That's no coming and jumping on and helping here and there. That's now he's going to need to score against Celtic. Something like that. That's how it's going to make him come good.
Well, you've got to realise how even though he had a massive impact, obviously, but you got to realise how long it took for Morelos to score against Celtic. That's you know, he's obviously still been good against Celtic. I think Itten can show his qualities, and he's shown it for us before, albeit Motherwell. Anytime he faces them, he scares them away. But I'd like to see it against more opposition, higher oppositions. But he's got a quality. I mean, obviously he's not come good for us yet, but I think he'll come good sooner rather than later.
Yeah. RFT 56. Your opinion is it good enough? I'm the same with you, mate, but not about getting a grip. It's about everybody having their own opinion. The Rangers Rabbles all about that. As you see our group chat, if you think about different opinions and people disagreeing with each other, so it's not about getting a grip, it's about everybody voicing their opinion. So that's what we're here for. I seen someone put it, penalties, right? And I seen Twitter in the first half. Certain people put out X, Y, and the usual chat, Ross, about Rangers getting penalties. Every one of the penalties we got were Stonewall. The 2 penalties we got were Stonewallers, and you probably could argue we could have more penalties because you're troubling a defence.
Mate, if you're camped out in the opposition's box and you've got tricky players, then you're going to gain penalties. That's the law of averages. And if you're playing most of the game camped in their box or on their 18-yard line, you're not going to concede penalties. What I want to know is why in 2022 James Tavernier's still the Rangers penalty taker. Mate, how many penalties does a guy miss? He misses, mate. Oh.
Somebody, Ross.
I love him. But see, whenever he hits a penalty, have you any confidence he's going to score? No any more than 50-50. It can't be.
Yeah.
Who would you have put on them, Ross? Tonight?
Somebody, anybody.
This is the problem. This is the problem we have. I'm not keen on Roof on them either, to be fair, but I know Cragen's a numpty, right? But I thought, see when he said after we were up, we'd won the game. There was no reason for him to hit that second penalty. He scored one. Handed he fucking Alex Lowry. What he said was Big Itten's came back for a poor loan spell, scored 2 goals and didn't play again for the worst team in the Bundesliga. He's back. He's going to need to play for us because Morelos might be away. Give it to the big man and let him score. Just give him the pen. Now it could go the other way, but you're a professional footballer. You gave him the pen and let him hit it. I would have given it in the second one. It's not a big problem for me, I don't think. Alex, you say he stays on it because he's the captain.
No, McLaughlin should have had the second one.
No. You took that too far there. Graham, let's start on the young man who came on for Hagi. What about Alex Lowry? I thought he came on and he's embarrassed a few of the first team players that came in there. You know, your Bakunas, who I thought came into the game all right in the second half, but Alex Lowry came in and hit the ground running. His first couple of touches.
He's so assured when he gets the ball. Like the wee flick that he done for one, I think it was to Tavernier for a shot. Straight away, that gave him confidence, and he's always on the half turn, and his first touch is always away from his body, which beats a player often enough. And he's very good to watch, and I don't think that'll be his last performance at Ibrox for Rangers.
Ross, what I noticed. It's a bit of the different for Hagi. It's a bit of the Hagi though. It's the first touch when he takes the ball in. What kind of Graham was saying there, different class. You can just see he's got something.
Aye, if you're playing and you've got players round about you, like the quality that Rangers have got, if you're confident on the ball at all, you're going to be able to pick passes. And as I said, the wee guy came in and obviously just went, fuck it, this is my chance. Couldn't have wrote it any better. Only early in the game, had the full game in order to make an impact. He's finished for the goals, absolute top notch. But the thing is, like, you look at other teams in this league, and 18's no an old player in Scottish football. It's not as if we're playing in the upper echelons of football. That boy now, for me, moves ahead of Bacuna in the pecking order, moves ahead of all these. I think we've got to, Nathan Patterson shown us that we've got to have a pathway for the first team, and see if you come in and you do well. If you're good enough, you're old enough. And the only performance, can I say, the only performance worse than Bacuna and Brandon Barker tonight was Scott Kennedy claiming he was the first player ever to score with Rangers wearing braces.
Yeah, that was
Carlos Queller's hair went straight.
Yeah, that was a bad shout by our resident contributor, Scotty.
Terrible.
Thinking that, I mean, Scotty backs himself in quizzes and stuff, but to think that Lowry was the first player to wear braces, his way was way off. Steve
Terrible.
English put him right in the chat, by the way.
Terrible,
back to in that room with that wallpaper he's got. But anyway, Alex Lowry, mate, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant. He was the guy who came on, you know, and there's a few players out there who, you know, they've come back, they need a bit of match sharpness, and this is the kind of game that they almost think it's below them, you know? Yep. Whereas Alex Lowry comes on and he goes, like Ross said, this is my chance, you know, to show Gio what I've got, and he bossed it. He bossed it from start to finish. He was getting involved. He wasn't scared at all. He tracked back when he needed to, and he was forward. He was well involved. I thought he was brilliant. Yeah, man of the match for me.
He got man of the match, Graham, didn't he? I'm sure I heard that over the tannoy at the end.
I got man of the match, mate. Aye, and deservedly so.
Curry Muncher, good comment here. And listen, I don't want to poke any Rangers players, right? I don't want to kick them, but Barker and Bakuna are still Rangers players. But I thought Alex Lowry came on and he did shame them. I thought he totally shamed them. Another one who came on, Ross, was Leon King. Very hard to judge, again, in this type of fixture. But he looked quite assured on the ball, which seems to be the new way for a centre-half.
It was when he took, it was kind of behind him and he kind of Cruyff turned it out running in front of himself. And don't get me wrong, there was nobody within 10 yards of him, but a young boy coming on and having the confidence to do that, because see if he trips over the ball, I'm thinking Joe Worrell against Kilmarnock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still get nightmares about that. That was the day you pulled all your hair out, JD, wasn't it? Joe Worrell. No, but that was, even when there's no pressure on you for a centre-half, if somebody's confident on the ball, they'll do that. They'll take a wee touch and open the play up rather than falling over it. I thought that, as you say, by that time, a part-time team were very tired. They never really gave them anything defensively to do, but that was one wee thing I saw where I thought, oh, boy obviously fancies himself on the ball.
Graham, James is saying, like, anyone who's seen Alex Lowry knows he's a special talent. Now, we've heard this. Everybody said Alex Lowry's a special talent. We've got probably one of the most, the guy who's in the biggest know for Rangers youth, Wally, telling us this. We've also been getting told that these boys are not ready. They're playing in the B. And I had my rant the other night about it as well. Has this kind of, like, I'll caveat that again because it's still in Albion, right? And this is probably at the same level that the B team boys are playing, but he's come in and handled it amongst the pros. He handled it better than some of the other pros. Is this kind of going to put that to bed that maybe some of these boys aren't ready for the first team? He's proven that he clearly is ready. That could have been Dundee. That could have been Livingston, surely.
I've been saying it for a wee while now, mate. I think some of them are definitely ready for games like that. Obviously, I'm not meaning like maybe Premier League games, but games like that, lower position in the Cup at Ibrox. When are you going to put them in and give them a chance? If you don't do it in that tonight, we're wanting to sign these players to contracts, and you've got to offer them like something to sign the contract. So Leon King, in my opinion, he should be starting tonight, alongside either Balogun or Goldson, so he's got experience beside him. That's how it works. That's how the big teams do it. The League Cup down in England, all the big teams play young players. They're not scared to do it. And if we want to get to a conveyor belt of talent and getting a chance and getting big fees for them when they go down south and stuff like that, we've got to give them a chance. And that gives them confidence to go on. Maybe they might play in the next round of the Cup against, say, maybe a championship team. And that's how it works. And that's how you move forward.
Graham, I agreed with you all day, but I'm going to play devil's advocate on that. And someone's in Rangers Rabbler in the comments saying Leon King should have started right, but we need to remember we've got a lot of games coming up here, and you've got an Old Firm game on the horizon, which is the most important game of them all. Playing Balogun tonight, Ross, is that not intelligent just to get, what did they get under his belt, 60 minutes? Is that not the right thing to do? Because we might need to use him in that game. He'll be used more than Leon King will against Celtic.
It's the Goldson thing, mate, innit? Why not give him a shot next to Balogun? We always talk about who's playing alongside Goldson. Mate, I don't know. See, I just think Goldson, he's the golden boy, obviously. He has been. He's the vice captain. He's playing games every game. He plays every game he can play, really. And I think the night was a chance where he could maybe have sat it out and gave Balogun and the boy King a shot together.
And that's a lot of people are saying that. Alex, do you go along that? You'd have thought King would have started tonight's 17-year-old, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like I said, I was surprised Simpson started. I would assume his career is over at Ibrox. Although he's not been given the best of chances, I would have assumed his career was over, and I maybe would have played, like Ross said, I would have taken Goldson out. He's the guy who plays week in, week out, and he's going to be playing against Livingston. So, you know that no matter what, why risk him tonight? Just in case, if somebody's going to come off injured as well, you don't want Coulson to come off. But the one player I was actually disappointed that didn't get onto the pitch was Charlie McCann. I would have liked to see him come on at some point.
Yeah, Graham, what are you thinking about that one? I thought Charlie McCann would have got on as well. He must have made a few changes, though. I was kind of thinking, well, who was going to come off for Charlie McCann? Because Lundstrom was going to get 90. Sakala was going to get 90. Who was going to come? Bakuna was going to get the 90. Who was going to come off for him? That was the only thing, unless you took one of them off maybe for 10 minutes.
It's hard if you definitely get the idea of giving him the 90 minutes for future games to get a wee bit of form up. But I think Charlie McCann, for me, I get back to it. I think we've wasted money on Lundstrom, Bakuna's wages when we could have trusted younger players that could have done exactly the same, especially when we play Lundstrom as a 6. Charlie McCann, I've seen Charlie McCann for years on MUTV, and he does that role better than Lundstrom will ever do it, in my opinion. And I think we just waste money on players because of a free transfer and maybe a bigger name. I think we've got to start trusting our young players.
Ross, do you think that's a bit of a bold comment for Graham, saying that Charlie McCann will do a better job than John Lundstrom, considering John Lundstrom's got 2 years under his belt in EPL, scored about 8 goals one season in EPL. That's no mean feat.
I mean, in the number 6 position, no mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've never seen the boy McCann playing, but see, for me, like, I talk a wee bit about the boy Weston, who seems to be scoring all the goals for the 18s and the B team.
30 odd, isn't it?
He's only a young guy, mate, but see, no matter if you're playing B team or you're playing big team or you're playing under 18s, the goals don't change shape or size, the ball doesn't change shape. See, if you're a finisher, mate, you'll score goals at any level. So there's obviously young players, and you're seeing that boy there as well. The pitch doesn't change size. If you've got players that are, although your opposition stepping up a level, the players that they're in beside are stepping up a level as well. So there's folk making better runs. I don't even know what position the boy McCann plays. I would be telling lies. The night was the first I'd heard him. I don't. But Graham,
tell us a bit about him then. If Charlie McCann, he made the bench. He's made the bench a few times this season. He's never got on. Tell us a wee bit about him. Tell folk about him. You've watched him a few times.
Anytime for Man United, he played either as a 6 or an 8. So he's kind of like a hybrid between the two positions. He can dictate tempo of the game. He keeps it simple. He can play through balls between the lines, and he's a good runner off the ball, and he always looks for the ball as well. He's confident. So that's what kind of player he is.
Does he pass? Does he tackle?
He can keep it simple, and then he can do the breaking the lines as well. He doesn't really switch the ball as much. What I remember, I've not really seen him for a while, to be honest. But on MUTV, he was always kind of behind quite two good midfielders. So he always kind of a sub player for Man United. But when he came on, he did well, and he's good at shooting from outside the box as well. Actually,
sounds promising. There's been a lot of chat about him, so it'll be good to see him eventually. But I thought we'd maybe have seen him tonight. But there's a long season ahead. COVID's still here. International games are, we've got a few players gone, so there's going to be opportunities. Hopefully, Alex Lowry has taken that tonight. We move on to Livingston, isn't it, this weekend?
Midweek.
Midweek, so we're off. Yeah, good. So Livy midweek, so we look forward to that. Alex, do you think Alex Lowry or anyone here who's on the fringes or not, Leon King, are making their way into the contention?
For Livingston? It depends on Hagi's fitness. I think if Hagi it doesn't pull through and it's probably better to keep him for the county game, then I would say, why not throw Lowry in see what you can do. Because I think at home against Livingston, that's 3 points that you're grabbing. And if you're making one change, Lowry has to be in there after tonight. You know, you see it. I think Billy Gilmore came in when he came in for Chelsea in the FA Cup, and he got man of the match in one game. And albeit it was a lower league opposition, but then he goes on and he plays against Everton in the Premier League, and he got man of the match again. You know, if you can keep up that form, that momentum, why not? Why not put Lowry in now?
Ross, you agree with that? Like a wee bit of momentum for the young guy. He's 18, but listen, players have started playing at 18 in the first team for years.
JD, who would you rather have in your team, Jason Holt or Alex Lowry?
Of course.
So he's going to be playing against Jason Holt. He's going to be playing against players of that ilk. I know that young Alex was born during the time of Jason Holt and that. Do you know what I mean? About 2010 when Jason Holt and Rob Kiernan, the day he was born, Philip Senderos scored his first Rangers goal.
No, but Ross, I done a greatest now. I was doing those greatest ever Rangers 11s.
Yeah.
Jason Holt had made Alex's 11.
That's
See, he was a box to box good runner, good tackle.
Oh mate, honestly man, I seen it. I came on and I seen him and I thought, that's a young boy that's grew up on a diet of Barry Mackay.
Alex.
He actually thinks Barry Mackay's goal against Celtic's the best goal in Rangers history. That's what he says.
Folks, thanks everybody for watching. I don't know. I think I spent more time on my phone tweeting about the game than I did watching the game. 4-0 Rangers Stirling Albion. So that was it. I think there'll be a wee bit of Alex, drop me in here. There's a wee bit of, you might not even know this yet, mate, but there's a wee bit of, you're going to have a little bit more of a deep dive into this game, you and Kerr at some point this weekend, perhaps. So if anyone wants to listen to that, you can, but we'll see where that goes. But everybody, thanks for listening, and as per usual, we're on all your, Ross, you're better at this now, you know what I'm talking about. We're on all your outlets for podcasting. And we're tiered approach on YouTube, and we've got our Patreon as well. So I just want to thank everybody for listening in and watching, and cheers for the comments, folks. It was a bit of a quick one tonight, a bit of a laugh. It's always good to get Ross back on, have a wee bit of a laugh, and yeah, Ross, nice to see you again. Have a good one, mate.
Thank you very much for having me, Uncle.
I don't start that. Graham, cheers, bud. Appreciate it. I know you've been working hard, mate, so thanks for coming on.
No worries, mate.
Alex, you handled that amateur there with real disdain. You slapped him about verbally there, mate, so well done.
Have you phoned his ma to tell him why he's not in his bed for school? Have you got my permission slip?
Listen, Alex, you've handled it well, mate. Well done. And Alex, just on that, Alex has been doing some cracking graphics and writing for us as well, mate. So well done. But the next time you're on a podcast, you need to get rid of that wee Yoda in the background, mate. That's no right. Anyway,
the two-man tent you're sitting in.
Folks, listen, thanks for listening in. Really appreciate it. And, cheers for everyone for joining in tonight. Appreciate it.
Do you get trigger happy there?
What?
What's happening?